What's going on? Rob here, Trev2323. Today we're working on a 2005 Ford Focus. This is a 2.0 engine. The trouble code is P2008. P2008 intake manifold something. Now this is what the intake manifold looks on the inside. See the four ovals? Those are the butterflies that little thing opens and closes at low idle, and those go bad. Intake manifold runner control valve. Let me show you where the part's at. I'll tell you what the true name is. See that rusted part right down there? Well, my finger is actually touching. This is what's bad. There's a air hose right here, a air hose right here, and then there's a plug right here that we got to get off right here. Before I unscrew this bolt, there's a bolt, I'll tell you the millimeters right here, and there's one underneath. And I got the part right here so you can kind of see what we're looking at. This sucker was $145 with taxes, but this is how it's gonna sit in the car right here. Air hose, plug that you plug in right here. So before I go ahead and take this screw off and this screw off, I'm gonna get a pair of pliers and pry off the air lines. The check engine light did go off by the next day, and that little valve opens and closes like there's a pressure to come reverse it to make them little butterflies open and close. So the computer was telling them to open and close, but they don't. But they wear out, so they flutter in there, and that's where the ticking noise comes from. So the check engine light's off for P2008, but those are fluttering, so eventually they'll need to be changed. Now these air lines are just on there. They don't have any clips on them, so you gotta try to get them off. Normally I go side to side and down. That one slid off pretty easy. Then I gotta get the other one. That don't look like I got a clip on it either. I gotta get a different pair of pliers. Alright, I'll be back. I gotta go get a pair of needle nose.
This little thing control.
There's a diverter in here that lets air go into right here. Okay, so I got that one off. I just used two hands, but I did the same thing. I put pliers on it. Instead of trying to yank straight down, you go side to side and walk it down, and it'll come right out. And actually, when I took this one out, you heard it go psst. Okay, so now gotta try to get this off right here. There's a clip to squeeze in on this one right here. Alright, I couldn't get that electric part off right there. So what I'm going to do is take off the part now and then try to get that from the bottom. There's enough wire down there that I could probably try to get it from the bottom. Now this right here is an 8mm socket. So there's one bolt right here, and then there's one bolt all the way underneath. The underneath you got to kind of feel for it to get the socket in there. Okay, that's the first one, and then I'm going to get the top one off now. If your engine is hot when you're doing this, be careful with your hands for one, but for two, if you get the bolts off when the engine's hot, do not put them back on until the engine cools off, because the metal expands when it's warm, and then if you put the nut bolts back in when it's hot and then it cools off, it gets really snug around the bolts. Okay, got that one off too. Okay, now here's the part right here. So if I see if I can get a better look at, oh, the clip's right here on the outside. Okay, let me see. Dang. Alright, so the clip right here, you don't push on the front, you push on the back of the clip. You push on the back of it, not the front. And then it slides over the top of this right here. But that's your part right there, your bad part. Make sure they're the exact same one. Alright, so goes this way. I'm gonna put the top one in first. See, that's That bottom one's gonna be something to try to find out where the bolt goes. Where the top one you can really see. Make sure you don't strip it putting it back in. Alright, don't put it all the way tight because then you're not going to be able to kind of move it around to find out where the bottom one's at. Okay. I gotta try to find out where the bottom hole's at. Can't find the hole, can't find the hole. Okay, I think I got it. Okay. And I just gotta snug it down and put the pieces back on. Now if your check engine light don't go automatically off, give it some time because you got to get like 3 cycles for it to kind of find the pieces. You just snug it, you don't try to break the bolt off in there. That was the bottom one, the top one. Okay, I gotta put the clip back in and the hoses back in. The hoses you can see are stay kind of in the same vicinity, so get a picture of that. Okay. Alright, well that's the part. It would took a little bit shorter if I didn't try to use the camera at first, but that's a new part right there, and that's a P2008. One thing that you should do is follow the wires, they say, and make sure there's no crack in the wire. Make sure that this is plugged in here. But that other wire, the bottom wire, man, I couldn't really follow that one back too far. That's the only other thing, not the only other thing, but that may cause it also. But this is a 8mm socket to change it. It's on, so we'll see if there's difference in the car. Okay, so when I change the part out, for one, the car does start a lot easier, but you still hear a little bit tapping in here. So what I did is I took this off and I put my finger on here, and you feel a little bit suction in here. And I did this like 2 or 3 times, and then I put it back on, and then it stopped making the noise as much as it did. So hopefully the flapper in here isn't bad for driving with it for so long, but I think it should be okay now because the check engine light's still on, but it's going to take 3 cycles of driving it. And after driving it for a week, if it doesn't go off, then we'll pull the code because there may be another code, but that part's changed out right now, and I'll let you know in a week if that code goes off. Okay, so actually the next day the code did go off, but you still hear the little tapping. So to stop the car from making that tapping noise, it's going to be about $250 because those are bad butterflies in your intake manifold. And if you look up that part, you'll see what I'm talking about.